What if everything you were taught about ancient history is incomplete? What if the people we call primitive understood astronomy, mathematics, and engineering at levels that still challenge modern science? And what if civilization didn't rise slowly, but collapsed and rose again? Welcome to Crazy World Facts, the channel where reality is stranger than fiction, and every story will make you question the world you think you know. Tonight, we're confronting one of the most destabilizing ideas in archaeology. Ancient civilizations may have possessed knowledge that does not fit the official timeline. Not mythology, not aliens, but measurable, structural, mathematical anomalies that refuse to go away. Because when the past looks technologically impossible, the present becomes fragile. Let's start with the Great Pyramid of Giza. Built around 4,500 years ago, aligned almost perfectly to true north, with a margin of error smaller than many modern buildings. Not magnetic north, true north. That requires precise astronomical tracking. The pyramid's proportions appear to encode mathematical constants. The ratio of its perimeter to its height approximates 2 pi. Its placement aligns astonishingly close to the center of Earth's landmass. Coincidence? Possibly, but the precision doesn't stop there. Each limestone block was cut and placed with tolerances measured in millimeters. No steel tools, no modern cranes, no computer modeling, just stone, copper, and geometry. The mainstream explanation is that ancient engineers used star alignment and massive labor forces. That may be true. But here's the real shock. We still debate how they did it in the 21st century with satellites and laser scanning. That alone should unsettle you. Now travel to Peru, Machu Picchu. Stones carved so precisely that not even a razor blade can fit between them. No mortar. Earthquake-resistant construction. And they built it in one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. Modern seismic architecture uses flexible interlocking systems. The Inca used similar principles centuries ago, without metal tools capable of that precision, without written blueprints we can study. Trial and error doesn't explain uniform precision across an entire city. It suggests a standardized system, an applied science. And that implies something deeper. They understood structural physics intuitively, or empirically, at a level we rarely credit them for. Now let's go further back. Gobekli Tepe, dated to around 11,000 years ago. That's before agriculture was supposed to be widespread, before permanent settlements, before what we define as civilization. Yet massive carved stone pillars weighing tons were erected in circular enclosures with symbolic carvings, intentional layout, organized labor. Who built it? Hunter-gatherers? That contradicts everything we were taught about societal development. Gobekli Tepe forces a terrifying possibility. Complex civilization may have existed before the accepted starting point of history. And if that's true, what else have we underestimated? Consider the Sumerians, one of the earliest known civilizations. They developed a base 60 mathematical system. We still use it. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 360 degrees in a circle. They mapped planetary movements, tracked lunar cycles, calculated astronomical patterns thousands of years ago. Some clay tablets describe celestial bodies with accuracy that appears astonishing for naked eye astronomy. Were they simply brilliant observers? Very possible. But brilliance at that scale implies continuity of knowledge, generations studying the sky, recording data, refining models. That's not primitive. That's scientific culture. Now look at Teotihuacan in Mexico. The layout of the city aligns with astronomical events. Some researchers argue the distances between major structures reflect scaled planetary spacing. Whether symbolic or empirical, it demonstrates awareness of cosmic structure. And across continents, we see similar patterns. Egypt aligns with Orion's belt, Mesoamerican temples align with Venus cycles, Stonehenge aligns with solstices, different cultures, different continents, same obsession, the sky. This wasn't decoration, it was data, encoded in stone. Why? Because astronomical cycles define time. Agriculture, navigation, survival. Ancient civilizations weren't mystics staring at the heavens. They were observers collecting long-term data sets without technology. Or perhaps with observational systems we don't fully understand. Now, here's where it becomes even more destabilizing. Precession of the equinoxes, a 26,000-year wobble in Earth's rotational axis. It's subtle, almost imperceptible within a single lifetime. To detect it requires long-term astronomical tracking. Some researchers argue that ancient structures encode awareness of precession. If that were true, even partially, it would imply knowledge inherited across millennia. That challenges the idea that civilization is a recent linear ascent. Instead, it suggests knowledge could be cyclical, gained, lost, recovered. And then there are the Nazca lines, massive geoglyphs etched into desert terrain, visible only fully from above, stretching across miles. Animals, geometric patterns, precise scaling. How did they maintain proportion without aerial perspective? Ground-based grid systems can explain it, but the scale remains breathtaking. Again, not impossible, but extraordinary. And extraordinary evidence demands extraordinary attention. Here's the pattern. We consistently underestimate ancient intelligence. We assume technological artifacts define intelligence. But what if knowledge existed in forms that don't survive millennia? Mathematical understanding doesn't fossilize. Astronomical insight doesn't leave microchips behind. Only alignments, angles, ratios, and those survive. The real threat of this topic isn't aliens, it's humility. Because if ancient civilizations were far more advanced in astronomy, engineering, and mathematics than we acknowledge, then modern civilization may not be the first intellectual peak. It may simply be the most recent. And peaks collapse. Libraries burn. Knowledge disappears. Timelines reset. What if history is not a straight line? What if it's a wave? What if we're not the first advanced society on Earth? Not in science fiction terms, but in intellectual terms. Because if knowledge can rise, fall, and rise again, then the story of human progress becomes fragile, and fragility changes perspective. The danger isn't believing in fantasy. The danger is assuming we already understand everything about the past. Archaeology evolves. New discoveries reshape timelines. What seemed impossible 50 years ago is now accepted, and what seems impossible today may become tomorrow's footnote. We don't need aliens to explain ancient brilliance. We need to reconsider the word primitive. Because when stone structures align with celestial mechanics with mathematical precision, that's not myth, that's data. And data demands explanation. If this mystery left you thinking, let me know in the comments what you believe. Subscribe to Crazy World Facts, because there are still many uncomfortable truths waiting to be uncovered. Because the past may be far more advanced than we've been told.